was at worked at a coin shop over West Seattle, and this guy started talking about U.S. coins minted for foreign countries. So I got this book. It was minted created in 1964. It's all the coins that were minted in the U.S. Mint up till 1964. We minted a few after that, and so I wanted to get this book, which is more complete, and it's also got all the silver values, all that kind of stuff in it, so you know what each coin's worth, as far as the silver and the gold's worth. And that's what I'm looking. I left some deals on the table there with all the different countries that are involved. And in 1964, there's 782 coins. That's every year and date. I have a complete typeset here. I brought it with me tonight. So it's got every coin, a type of every coin we minted. So I got a complete set, plus the gold. Wow. And it took me 40 years to do it. So it's a lot of coins are hard to find because they didn't make that many, or they trying to get one in good condition, because a lot of countries had laws where you couldn't collect coins. So there was nothing left in really good condition. So I have one coin here from Ecuador. It's AU, the best I've ever seen. And it's expensive. I'm going to show you just a few of the examples of different things that we minted or didn't mint, or so on and so forth. But this is the most unusual one we minted, the Belgian Congo. Hard to believe that we'd make a coin like that at the U.S. Mint, isn't it? 1943. That was a lot of coins during the war, and a lot for South America. This was for Belgium in 1944. That's the steel penny.
Huh.
That's the actual planchette that we made the steel pennies in 1944.
Interesting.
So we made that coin for Belgium, and it's hard to believe. That's just hard to believe we did that. But that's the coin that they wanted. And I'm not sure how much they were occupied or anything at that time during the war, but they were.
They were occupied.
Yeah. So I don't know how many got circulated, but we did a lot of that. Okay, go ahead. Now this is the smallest coin we ever minted. It was called the Panama Pill. It's got it in here. It's about this big. It's 2.5 cents worth of silver. You can hardly see it when it's in the book here if you want to look at it. It's really small. And that's a regular coin, except they made it really small, so because that was the value of the silver. Now the next one is the biggest one we made was a 5 Balboas. That's a big silver dollar, even bigger than our silver dollar. That's the biggest one we ever made. Now if you look at this coin, we made this for French Indochina in 1922, but this one, it wasn't made in the United States because it's got that H on there. See the H? I think you got a picture of that, right? That was made in Germany. And if it has the H on it, it's not a U.S. mint. We have lots of coins like that. We have some from Poland where if it has any kind of a mint mark on it, we made one coin for Poland. It's not made in the United States. It's got to be plain. And this was the plain one that I have in here was from the Philadelphia Mint. Okay. This is New Orleans coin we made for Mexico in 1907. And we didn't make all of them. Some of the ones were made in Mexico. Some of them, this is the only one we made in the New Orleans Mint. So if you could show the next picture. You see that 7 there? If it's a straight 7, the one on the left, that was made in Mexico. If it's curved, it was made in the United States. That's the only way you can tell the difference in the coin. So if you're collecting these, you gotta know if you got the right coin, or you're gonna buy the wrong one and you're not gonna have the right coin. Go ahead. Now this is a mule, and happened is we made some 5 centavos on 20 centavo pieces. And so it got all mixed up, and so that this is actually a really hard coin to collect because it's really rare. And so if you go to the next picture, you can see the wings, how they go farther out on the coin. That's how you can tell it's a mule, because it's got the wrong configuration of the eagle on there. Because it was a 5 centavos with a 20 centavo back on it. We messed it all up as a mint. See the difference? Can you see the difference?
Yeah.
Because if you just had a 1916 with the it would just be a regular coin. Now this is a coin that we made in 1949. It was a replica of the 1898 Mexican coin. And we made this for the Republic of China to pay for their troops. And we made this one, and we made one other one that we sent to China. And it was the same thing. It was minted in 1949, but it was actually dated 1933 and 1934.
Oh, we were still in Mexico.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So this coin here, we bid it for them because they were trying to. We had so much inflation in China right at the end of when this was all going down there. They couldn't find any way to pay their troops because they wouldn't take their money. So they made all these silver coins for China, the Republic of China. By the time they were ready to send them over there, the communists had already taken over. So all the people that were in China that were part of the Republic of China all went to Taiwan. And the troops. So that's the population of Taiwan is actually all the people that left China in 1949. Not all of them, but a big portion of them. They went there because they didn't want to be subject to the communist government. And if you go to the next picture, you can tell the original coin right there. You see that O right between the M and the Y? See the O? The restrike has got the O is higher. And that's how you tell the difference between the coin that was actually minted in Mexico in 1898 and the one that we minted in 1949. So if you got the wrong one, you got the wrong coin for the collection.
So I'm curious. Sorry to interrupt. But
Yeah,
I'm curious. You know, so the Chinese needed silver to pay the troops. Why use an 1898
I have no
peso
idea.
instead of?
I have no idea. It was, I mean, that part of the research is because they made another coin in Mexico, a 20 centavo piece that also never got shipped over there. And supposedly were all melted, but on Heritage House they've had some for sale that actually got out there, like $5,000 a piece. Okay, go ahead.
You have down there that was a restrike, but it looks like it's a completely different die. You know, you look at the rays.
That's the only difference, though.
But you look at the rays, and they're not even close.
Right.
And you look at the
Yeah, I know
ray
that.
right above
And
the
actually,
O's.
what I
look at the beading around the restrike.
okay, well that was the other thing is the original time when they see the difference was you count those around the edge. There's a different amount of them for the U.S. Mint. It was actually pretty obvious with the O there higher than the other one. Okay, this is what we made China. For China, the same thing. It was, and Dick corrected me, it was 1933, right? Because I thought it was 34. Actually, the 33 is worth more money. And this is the same size as our silver dollar. But we made this, it was all supposed to go to the troops in China to pay them. And it just didn't make it there in time. But it's a pretty nice coin in the back. There's a variation with birds on the top, but that wasn't made in the United States. But that's a nice coin, but it never really got circulated too much because there's quite a few around. But when I first bought this, it was about $50, and now they're about $700. Chinese have wanted these all back now. We're buying a lot of these coins back. Now we're going to get down to the one that it's a gold. It started in 1932. Saudi Arabia, we found out had gold. I mean, not gold, but oil, gold, liquid gold. And we started negotiating with them to drill oil in Saudi Arabia. And the first company went over there was Chevron, and they couldn't find it. So they sold a bunch of leases to Texaco, and Texaco found the oil. So the first time, that was actually in 1938, we found this oil. And that was all because of the war situation, and that there was a big lot of oil needed for the war, so that we were pretty interested in this oil in Saudi Arabia. And the original name of the company was the Arab American Oil Company. Now it's called Aramco. And I think it's still that name. I think they still use that name in Saudi Arabia to this day for their oil company. But, so then they decided how the Saudi Arabia wanted to get the money from us, this oil. So the first thing they did, they took U.S. dollars. And believe it or not, you know how much money was involved? $3 million. That was the original pay. That was $3 million for all this oil was in Saudi Arabia. When it compared to that today. But in 1930, in the country, the United States here, we had a deal where you couldn't hold any gold. They made a law against us holding gold. You had to sell it all back to the government. And so we had stuck our price at $35 an ounce for gold. Well, the worldwide price was $70. So guess what? Saudi Arabia wanted gold instead of the dollars, because that was $35 more for the gold that they were going to get. Our value was only 35, and the world value was 70. So they said, we want gold. So they originally started out, they found these sovereigns from England, 1893, which was pretty much the face value of gold, which was 2.3 ounces of gold. So they gave them some of those. Well, they ran out. So Saudi Arabia said, well, we want some. So we made a few silver and brass coins for Saudi Arabia. But they wanted this gold, so we decided by hook and crook to make these gold sovereigns for them. And I got the one in my hand. I'll send it around. Anyway, we made a smaller one to start out with, which was the same size as this sovereign. And then we made a bigger one, which I'm passing on now, which was 1 pound and 4 pounds. And there's what it looks like. And this is the large one. And you can see that all we did was make the Philadelphia Mint on it and the weight. So basically what we were doing was, there's all kinds, I've got a whole list of stuff here. Reasons why we did it. But basically all it was we were paying Saudi Arabia for the gold for the oil. So it wasn't just going to the king, but he probably wound up with all this. So we sent just big boxes of this gold coins, And I've got some paperwork up here. There was some counterfeits made of these. They were actually gold, but they were just counterfeit because the numismatic value got way higher than the gold value. But I guarantee you this was a good coin. Anyway, we had, it's a really interesting coin because we actually weren't supposed to do this. We weren't supposed to make any gold coins because of all these laws we had in the United States. So they actually sold these coins to Texaco, basically, and then Texaco gave to Aramco, as payment for this oil. So it was one of those things where we just kind of did some pretty crooked things against our laws, but we wanted that oil so bad because of all the war situation that we almost had to do it. And then after we had these 2 coins, we were going to make another one for them, but because there was such a shortage of gold during the war that they couldn't find any, so they found that some banks in Argentina had all these sovereigns. Probably the Germans took them down there when they left town and went to Argentina and brought all that gold with them. And so these banks down in Argentina had all this gold. So they wound up being able to use these sovereigns instead of making a 3rd coin. So they didn't have to make another coin. But because I looked in the book lately, that sovereign is probably still pretty much the gold price, even to this day. Because they just didn't make it. It's like some of our gold coins are worth more of the gold than they are the numismatic value. Especially if they are in the circulator, they're really nice. Anyway, they made 2 sizes of this coin. I have them all in here. So these 2 books here, you can come and take a look at them later. I gave you some of these out. If anybody else wants another one, it's a list of all the coins we've made for these different countries. It's pretty surprising how many countries we made coins for. I mean, we made 4 coins for Saudi Arabia in 1947. I mean, not Saudi Arabia, but Syria. 2 gold coins and 2 silver coins. I mean, why did we do that? You know, I mean, what was had to be some kind of diplomatic thing going on of some kind. And then we made a lot of coins for South America. We made a lot of coins for war countries during the war, like Morocco and Netherlands, East Indies, and like that. And a lot of those, if you look in the books, there's a lot of those coins were never circulated. Some of them they're just rare, and you wouldn't even find them because they melted them all back. And we made some coins that like for Costa Rica, where they had a 50 centavos, and they made it into the 1 colon by 1923 because the silver value was higher. So they didn't make another coin, they just stamped the middle of it. And I have the original coin in here that we made in 1914 in uncirculated condition as stamped with 1 colon in the middle. I've upgraded these coins hundreds of times through different sources. In fact, Dan O'Brien from that coin club, he's doing all the shows all the time. He came over to my house the other day, bought $3,000 worth of coins for me. Of the ones I cured them out to make a better coin. I just got one the other day that I thought was going to be better. It wasn't any better than the coin that I already had, even though it was graded higher. But I guess the best thing to do is to kind of look through this a little bit and see how interesting these coins are. It was interesting to me to collect them. There's a lot of history involved, especially in the United States being involved with all these different countries. This coin is obviously the most interesting one because of the war situation and the oil, and it really wasn't a circulated coin. But Saudi Arabia didn't have their own coins, so they were using these sovereigns and all those kind of different coins as part of their coins. So that's why we made some coins for them. Plus, we made these gold coins, and I'm sure they got circulated around and traded around Saudi Arabia. Hey, any questions?
Is U.S. Mint still producing coins from other countries today?
We made a few of them lately, but in the 70s and a couple in the 80s, but not since then. We made a couple for Iceland, commemorative coins. We made a couple for Mexico in the 70s and Brazil in the 70s. And most of the coins, we haven't done a lot of it since the 80s. And of course, there are the coins you could say were U.S. Mint because they were private. got some in the back of the one book that we made. And actually, the first coin we ever made was 1876 for Venezuela. We made it 1 cent and a 2.5 cent.
In 1876.
1876. That's a long time ago.
What about the coins that the Mint made for the Philippines? They made them twice. They made them early in the 1900s, in 1907, 8, 9, around there. Then they started making them again in the early 1940s when the Japanese were.
Yeah, we did. In fact, if you look at this book I have right here.
Well, Jack, didn't you have an 07 proof set, a Philippine proof set?
1908.
1908.
I had that, but I sold it at one of these coin shows to buy some gold coins that I didn't have. And we made 500 of them. You know why we made 500? That's all the orders we got. And that was a smaller size of the silver coin, because by 1908, the silver value got worth more than the coin value. So actually, coins in the Philippines that were made from 1900 up to 1908. If you look at this book, it's pretty high mintage, but we melted a lot of them.
And then again in the 1940s.
Yeah.
And the ones in the 40s came out of the San Francisco Mint.
Yeah, they did.
Well, they also made the Manila.
We made some later on in the 70s too.
There was also Philippine coins made at the Manila Mint as well.
Yeah, well, that's not part of this collection because they were the Manila Mint. We didn't make the MacArthur coins. We made some commemorative coins. 2 sizes of MacArthur. They were made at the San Francisco Mint. Here's some more commemoratives that we made. Silver coins, but they were all in the 60s. And the coins we made a set of coins in 1958 through 1960, and then we made a few in the 70s for there was proof sets. Like this one coin we made for Poland right here, this book. If it has any kind of mint mark on it, it wasn't made in the U.S. It's got to have no mint marks on it. Of course, it's a Polish. We had one coin in 1924 and 1925. Why would we make a coin in Poland in 1924? I have no idea we did it.
I was going to ask, kind of tails to that comment is, it seems like one of the kind of theme or whatever is, certainly during World War II, or a country like Belgium that's occupied, and they want to maintain their image as being a viable country. Is it typically war or revolutions going on until, like, I don't know what was going on in 1876 in Venezuela, but is there a kind of an overriding theme of why the countries have us, mint the coins for them during the period of time? I mean, World War II is pretty obvious, but
we actually made silver coins and everything else for that too. Way back then, we made lots of different varieties of coins for them, and we made coins for Venezuela clear up to in the 1930s.
So then it's just outsourcing. It's not like there was.
They just didn't have a mint.
Huh.
We made a coin for Dominican Republic in the same year, 1877. We made it a private mint here in the United States. And that one's in here too. Question?
So, how much did the Land Lease Act?
And I have a feeling we just gave it to them. Who knows? Who knows what we did as a country, because it was just like giving them, like we do, we give them aid, so we probably gave coins. But these countries didn't have any way of doing it. They were like some small country like Colombia. There's a lot of South American coins if you look on that list. They just didn't have the facilities to do it, so we made the coins for them. Even if they were silver coins, we probably just gave them to them. I have no way of knowing that for sure, but we look how much aid we give them right now. It would be just the same as giving them these coins, and they could use them for their population. Just like Saudi Arabia didn't have any coins. They didn't have any way to make coins in 1930s. That's how backward that country was. Because until they found oil, I don't think anybody would want to go there.